time now to get the latest from Israel. Now, as earlier this month, people in England and Wales voted in local and mayoral elections. At first glance, Labour appeared to dominate, with the Conservatives losing over half their races. However, despite winning in many areas, Labour's support saw a decrease in areas with a high number of students and Muslims, who cited Gaza as the reason for their shift away from the party. So the question I'm wondering is, what impact could the up-and-coming UK general election have on Israel and vice versa? Well, joining me now is performer and mystifier Uri Geller. So, Uri, what's on your mind?
OK, look, wow, Nana, what a week. So much has happened. Britain calls an election. The president of Iran is killed. The International Criminal Court is thinking of arresting our prime minister. Wow, that's enough to fill an entire program. But first, look at this. This is heartbreaking. The IDF just found the bodies of these 3 Israelis who were murdered on the 7th of October. Hamas took their bodies to Gaza and held them. Such cruelty. Now, did you know Labour supports a ceasefire before we get the rest of our hostages back? That's unbelievable. So whoever becomes the British Prime Minister in July really matters to Israel. On the one hand, Keir Starmer supports a ceasefire, and on the other hand, Rishi Sunak doesn't. Nana, as you know, I'm an Israeli, but I'm also a British citizen. So I do care about the outcome of the elections. Now, the main party's policies are actually very different about Israel. Keir Starmer is more enthusiastic about recognizing a Palestinian state than Rishi Sunak. And in my opinion, this is very dangerous. You can't force a Palestinian state on Israel. It would be immediately overrun by Hamas, and they would attack Israel again and again. Now, you also just had local elections, and Labour lost. Labour lost in areas with large Muslim populations, as you said. This is also very, very worrying, because they now have to win back the support of voters who don't even believe Israel should exist. Now look at this. Look, all these marches in London, all the student protests, all the unions, most of them are Labour supporters. And for them, the Palestinians are the #1 cause. Look, Nana, it makes no sense. What has the Palestinians got to do with NHS waiting lists or education or jobs? But at every Labour conference, and you know that, you see Palestinian flags everywhere. I believe if Keir Starmer gets in, there will be a surge in anti-Semitism, because the left is obsessed with Israel. All the anti-Semitism and hatred of Israel, which rose up under Jeremy Corbyn, is still there under the surface. And I think it will sweep Keir Starmer away. Now, finally, there is also something else. Did you know, Nana, that Labour said they would respect an order by the International Criminal Court to arrest our Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu? I hope you know that, because just to be clear, the ICC has not issued an arrest warrant, but it is thinking of doing so. So if Labour gets in and our Prime Minister visits London, he could get arrested on the tarmac of Heathrow Airport. This can never be allowed to happen. So finally, there are 6 weeks until the vote, and a lot is going to happen between now and then. So, Nana, you know that we will have a lot to talk about until then. I love you all. Thank you very much for having me on your show.
Thank you very much, Uri. That's the brilliant Uri Geller, and his thoughts on the up-and-coming elections and what effects it might have on this country. Although I will say that, of course, the students at those rallies would say that they're fighting for peace. And on the one hand, though, I do agree that it is interesting that our governments, whichever be them Labour or Conservative, think that they can sort of impact or tell other countries what to do and as to how they solve their own wars. And I just don't see that working in any way, shape or form.